Before I get started, I would like to publicly thank my husband, Eddie, for for learning to negotiate around another woman in the house and in the kitchen. I'd also like to give a special recognition to Esther Basha, who's Director of Social Media Marketing, who's with the camera. And my dear friend Cookie Medina, who's the Director of everything in my life. Thank you, Cookie. Leah has a story. Leah is her story. I am privileged to watch Leah live her story every day, and I am honored to have become a part of her story. Leah was a happy young child in a regular Orthodox family until the first trauma of her life disrupted her normal 5-year-old expectations. Overnight, through no fault of her own, she became a sad and lonely child. Her mother's passing at 5 left her unsure and mistrusting of the world. She instinctively made her own way as she learned to fend for herself. She strengthened her resilience as she learned to adapt in the most unfriendly circumstances. From a young age, Leah made choices, taking chances unconsciously and instinctively beyond the normal abilities of her age. Hardy flexibility prepared Leah for her teenage years when she found herself on the train to Auschwitz. Hell had opened, and there was no escape. There was only one choice she could make: a choice to live or a choice to die. She had no one to depend on except herself. From where a spark of light shone from inside her soul that always directed her instinct to live. Only once did she weaken and dissent, leaving her bruised and bloodied from the beatings, meant to show the other prisoners what happens when one dares to dispute the rules. Leah did not wither from this assault and humiliation. Rather, it made her more rebellious. Fortunately, the story does not end here, as Leah was not afraid to dream. To dream of having a husband, a house with laughing children inside, her revenge against Hitler, Yamach Shemo. Absently wiping a spill of coffee from the table, she continues to remember sharing her long-held privacies. Telling and disclosing is her healing. Over time, I see her move from tight inner stress to relaxation. We laugh often and more spontaneously. Leah is becoming more self-accepting as she recognizes how well she has coped through her prolonged, grim past. She possesses inherent, matter-of-fact guts and bravery, honed from a very tender age. I am in awe of Leah's resilience, her stubborn and tenacious hardiness through her turbulent life. Leah somehow found a way to justify the juxtaposition of the atrocities of war with her longing for a secure life. Leah says, "I'm afraid of very little, except I hope not to be sick. Things you cannot change, you should not complain about. Let it go. Hide it below where nobody sees. Put on a face. Go past it. Life has to go on. Resilience is her key to healthy aging, and she is healthy. Writing with Leah has expanded my story as a new story that I'm living in her shadow of acute Holocaust awareness. My former problems seem minuscule compared to Leah's. I've never had to run for my life. When writing a story, any story, it's important to first show tension, then the transformation. Her story is full of tension. When we met the German Consul General, Jürgen Borsch, and heard his apology for the Nazis and their henchmen, we were both weeping. The transformation occurred when Leah realized that younger generations cannot be held responsible for their parents' or grandparents' acts of indiscretions. I want to read a little piece from her book. Children are born innocent, yet hatred can be instilled beginning from birth by modeling attitudes and behaviors of their parents. Only education at home and at school can teach our children that hatred between human beings is never right. Hatred breeds evil and inhumanity. Hatred will never lead to peace. I can finally stop blaming those who were not responsible. My perception shifted. I can no longer hold my prejudice tight, especially for those who were not yet born. I thank Consul Jürgen Borsch for opening my mind. At no time did I ever think I could cross this bridge toward unity. No matter how much I wrote, this burden burned the core of my soul. I can't forget the suffering of our Jewish people through the ages. However, I've realized that what a person doesn't acknowledge cannot begin to be healed. The emotional pain imprinted on my heart will never leave me, but it does not have to dominate. Life goes on, and our children must live in unity in a democratic way. For peace, I accept a personal obligation to build bridges by speaking one-to-one for a changed tomorrow.